everyone, this is Outstar and welcome to the video about all lies, myths and misconceptions about Cyberpunk which are being spread right now on Twitter, in media and everywhere. So we are right after E3 and it was an amazing time for all the Cyberpunk fans because of the trailer that we saw, because of the interviews that we heard and because of the gameplay that was being shown only for the close group of people on the E3. It's not being shown to the public yet, but we got a lot of leaks from that, a lot of people spreading opinions about that particular trailer, and comparing them to each other, we can clearly know and get like a legit information on what was shown in there. Unfortunately, it caused some misconceptions and myths and lies to be spread around, and I really want to take some time to debunk all of them, to give you like a legit source of information on what actually is in the game and what should we expect. And I really hope that this will create a little bit more hype and make you a little bit less worried about the final state of the game. So first of all, I woke up in the morning today, I checked my phone, and the first thing I saw was this. I'm not going to comment on that, just watch the developers, okay?
So it's first person, doesn't mean it's a first person shooter or anything like that. The game is definitely a role-playing game. So I really want to emphasize the fact that it's a role-playing game with some shooter elements rather than like a first person shooter with a bit of a role-play layered on top.
Sure.
We have very deep progression systems, so all the things you would expect from a CD Projekt RED game.
You know what's best? Kotaku actually got it right. PC Gamer, you should be ashamed of yourself. So to sum up all the information we have about the first-person perspective from the E3, from the interviews and from everything we know, the choice of first-person perspective is very clever, and there are a few reasons for that. One of the reasons why the choice of first-person perspective was so cool is actually in the demo. There apparently was a scene in which V, the protagonist of the game, inserts herself the eye implants. And obviously, when you see that from your own perspective, you know, the eye being torn out and a new one being inserted, that's something that you couldn't be immersed so much in if that would be in third-person perspective. Additionally, you have the narrow streets, you have the vertical exploration of the buildings, corridors, so FPP seems to be just a valid choice for that. We might be a little bit disappointed if we played The Witcher 3 before and we are just used to that, but think about this. In Witcher 3, battles happened on quite of a big terrain, so it was only normal to have a TPP so you can see everything happening. With Cyberpunk that actually will have a first-person shooting combat, it is only normal to have the FPP view. Also pay attention to the fact that CD Projekt RED hired a special person just to work on the guns in the game, so showing them from third-person perspective and first-person perspective is way different, and having an impact on that probably caused them to choose FPP over anything else just to showcase them nicely. But this won't be a first-person shooter. This is the FPP RPG game with shooting in combat and melee being confirmed already. The problem is, if someone will see a headline like this, their expectations of the game will be way different than what actually is in the game. First-person shooter games with RPG elements are inherently different than RPG games in first-person. Think Fallout, for example, although combat in Cyberpunk is going to be way more fast-paced and action-driven than Fallout. 2. PC Gamer, yet again, Cyberpunk 2077 will include online elements to ensure long-term success. So this is the old article, but there's a lot of conversation right now about the multiplayer in Cyberpunk. So they are actually linking this Polish interview video, and good thing that I'm Polish, so I can actually tell you what they translated wrong. They do say about the multiplayer, but what is said is, I quote, "Online is needed, or rather advised if you want to have a long-term success with your game. In the past, we've mentioned that there will be some form of online gameplay in Cyberpunk, at least at some point, but unfortunately I can't tell you much more right now because as for now, we haven't even started our narration in this topic. This is still the future for us." So they are thinking about the future online component for the game. I would assume maybe something like GTA 5 RP, but at the launch there's going to be nothing online planned. The game will be fully DRM-free, that was confirmed already, so you won't have to have the internet connection to play it. It's all being debunked right now by the developers, and developers actually said on E3 themselves that multiplayer is not planned as for now, we can't say anything about it, maybe in the future, we'll see. 3. Misinformation about classes. Okay, just look at these articles. People are really mad right now because these articles really stated that you can play as all of the classes in original Cyberpunk, and you know what? That would be actually very hard to do. Game development wise, I think it is a very good choice of what CD Projekt RED did actually. And what they did is they picked 3 classes from the Cyberpunk book, which is the Solo, Netrunner, and Techie, and they mixed them up in those probably 3 skill trees. I might be wrong about that though. Basically, what they meant is that there's going to be one fluid class choosing throughout the game. You don't pick the class at the very beginning. You pick your abilities from one of those 3 classes. You can be very clearly a Solo or a Netrunner only, but you can also combine some elements from Solo, from a Techie, to create the character that you really want to play. A lot of people are mad about this. I think that this is only a very wise design decision because people want to play as a journalist or as a cop. That would alter everything in the gameplay, that would have to change the story, and you know, basically they won't be able to make such a long, expanded experience for each one of the class if they would actually choose to give them different storylines. So I believe it's actually a cool option. Some people are also saying that there won't be any classes at all, but it was confirmed in this leaflet from the show that Solo, Netrunner, and Techie are actually there in the game. Probably in the form of a skill trees again. I would only imagine this as the Witcher 3 kind of character creation. When you had the science, the alchemy, and the battle, that sounds kind of similar, so I do believe they took the experience that they gathered during development of The Witcher 3 to create this system. We'll see about that. I'll be making another video about possible abilities and the confirmed abilities already from the game and about each of the classes, so you can expect that in the future. 4. Game will be set in the daylight. I can't really say how many people I've seen on Twitter saying that the whole trailer is set in the daylight, which is not true. Just look at these 2 scenes in here, okay? There is a night and day cycle, so it's easy to assume that you'll be able to explore the night city throughout the night. And actually in Cyberpunk, the whole lore about the city says that city sleeps during the day and wakes up during the night. So I quite assume that most of the gameplay will take part during the night. Why they show the daylight so much and why they put the emphasis on the daylight in the trailer is a very interesting topic to talk about, and I do believe that this is because they wanted to show the real Cyberpunk 2020 world to people who weren't that much accustomed to it. People who watched Blade Runner, who played other cyberpunkish dystopian city games, they all think that this is the forever at night universe, and it's not. And I'm really happy that CD Projekt RED actually chose this way of showing this. It was a little bit controversial, but I think it delivered the message. 5. Pool of Lovers will be twice as big as in The Witcher 3. Okay, we can rejoice because romances are confirmed, one-night stands are confirmed, gay romances are confirmed. It is all there, and we'll be able to have probably a way bigger experience of being in love and getting in a relationship with characters, or actually just having a one-night stand with the NPCs from the game. But it's not going to be exactly twice as big as in Witcher 3. This information is being passed because of this article, which is not inherently wrong, and I do believe that this might be the case in general, but this article says that specifically just because you have 2 genders to choose from. What is very important to underline though is that this is not going to be the game in which every single character is going to be bisexual, so you can romance every person from the pool of male and female romanceable characters. You can of course have your preferences, but characters have preferences as well. And this is very important for me because this makes characters more real. Some characters won't want to have homosexual romances, others will be totally into them, maybe only into them, and that's fine. I'm really happy about this in the game, so yeah. Probably twice as big or maybe a bigger pool of lovers as from Witcher 3, but the number itself wasn't confirmed, so don't believe that. So another one is a lot of misconceptions about the protagonists. A few of them are: protagonist is shown in the E3 trailer, protagonist will be male, or protagonist will have a set look. It's all taken from the materials we got, so basically we got those 2 protagonist artworks which already have cosplays done. Really beautiful designs of characters that are being spread around the internet right now. And then there's this guy in the trailer which talks about the Night City and about the setting and everything, so people think this is the protagonist. The hidden message in the trailer, and then developers during the interviews confirmed that there's a full character creation. You can make your character look however you want, with tattoos, haircuts, anything, and of course the clothing as well. We can't wait for them fashion shows. You can choose whether you want to play a female or male character and then make them however you wish they will look like. Some people were saying that the race wasn't mentioned, but I do believe that, you know, guys, basically in every RPG game with character creation, there is a skin color slider or a skin color picker, and that's going back to the age of Neverwinter Nights, so I'm quite sure they're not going to skip that, so don't worry about that. Don't spread the fact that this game is for sure going to be racist or sexist, because we have no idea. We don't know this, but we can safely assume that they're going to try their best. 7. Oh god. Oh god. IGN's promise of gameplay during the Twitch show they did. Oh god, okay, alright, so you're gonna see this.
Welcome back to IGN Live at E3 2018. The convention is finally open, and IGN is planted right in the heart of the show floor, where we'll be getting our hands on some of the hottest games of E3. Up ahead, we've got Spider-Man, and later we're going to play a little Cyberpunk 2077. And at 4 p.m. Pacific, make sure to head over to IGN.com, where we have live coverage of the Fortnite 50v50 Celebrity Pro-Am everyone is talking about.
Oh boy, there's a lot of wrong in here. So what happened is that yesterday the information spread around that the gameplay is going to be shown during one of these interviews that Cyberpunk had a schedule for, and IGN was one of them. So I was there waiting for some information for the gameplay, for anything, and I saw people in the chat being so hyped for that, and after these words were said, this just blew. Everyone was giving them bits, that's the real money on Twitch. Everyone was there, they had the concurrent number that I don't remember if IGN Twitch channel ever seen before. And they didn't show the gameplay. What they actually shown was the interview with the developers and then the, wait for it, analysis of the trailer. That was a blatant lie, that was a blatant cash grab, viewer grab, call it whatever you want, it was everything. IGN, shame on you. Shame on you. Next one that was spread a while ago, that the world of Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be, quote, 4 times as big as The Witcher 3 plus its DLCs. So I've seen videos on YouTube with this in the title, I've seen articles about that, and all of that is coming from some sorts of leaks, which were not very much confirmed. During the E3, the developers actually answered the questions about the size of the world, and they said, we don't know yet. We are still adding some stuff to the game, they're still adding some locations, they're still making the world bigger and broader, but they said specifically it's not about the size, it's about the quality. If everything in life was just like that. So yeah, I would safely assume that this world doesn't have a set size yet. They're still trying to make this perfect. And all the estimations that we have can be right, can be wrong. It was very hard to count it, also because of the vertical exploration which will be included, and that was confirmed during this year's E3. So when you have a skyscraper, you can actually search through its floors, you can find some secrets, NPCs, quest givers in there. And that's super fun for me. I don't really need to have a world which is big in size when it's empty, and that's exactly what developers say. Alright, so there was a scandal back in the days about CD Projekt RED trademarking the name Cyberpunk, and the lie spread around was that this is going to cause other games, like for example Valhalla, the Cyberpunk bartender simulator, to drop these names or change the names because CD Projekt RED is the sole owner of the name right now. So the misconception about that is that people were mixing up trademark with copyright, and that's not exactly the same. What it means in practice is that you won't be seeing games called Cyberpunk 2078, for example, but you will still see games which use Cyberpunk as an adjective. So yeah, they debunked that they are going to use it in any malicious ways, so we don't have to worry about this, probably. Let's hope so. And last but not least, Cyberpunk will be just as sexist as The Witcher 3. And that was actually spread by the developer of Dear Esther and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Actually good games, you may fight me, but I think these games are okay. It's just like... Cyberpunk 2020, as the pen and paper setting, was the gateway of non-binary LGBTQ people into the universe of pen and paper games in general. And what's amazing is that Cyberpunk is inherently about expressing yourself in any ways you want. You wanna sleep with these people, you wanna dress this way, you wanna be whoever you wanna be, go on. You are free to do anything. This is the dystopian future in which individualism is such an important thing. And developers will acknowledge that because we already know that the gay romances are there. And about women in the game, we already saw in the trailer how they have the same roles as guys. There is basically the female version of the protagonist, the guy who speaks, and she has a gun. There is a girl who's hacking throughout the net cable. Basically, we as women can do anything in this game that male could. There's no indication about some differences in skills or anything like that that female characters will have. So absolutely, I don't think we have to worry about that. I'm quite sure that CD Projekt RED have this nailed, and the whole saying that this is just as sexist as Witcher 3, yeah, sure, because The Witcher 3 wasn't sexist. I actually made a video about it for those of you guys who want to see it. That was a long time ago. I had a different haircut. I was way younger and more beautiful. But yeah, I think I covered this topic very fully in that video, so you can see why The Witcher 3 is not a misogynist, sexist game. Let's not assume anything before we actually see the game. I'm quite sure it's going to be just up to our expectations, and yeah, I can't wait for it. And that's all. I hope I helped you in building a little bit more legit database of information for Cyberpunk 2077 without any lies, misconceptions, and other things that are being spread around. There'll be more videos like that. The next video is going to be about character classes and skills. Some of them were already confirmed, so I would love to talk a little bit more in detail about that. I hope you guys will enjoy it. Remember that you can also watch me at twitch.tv/outstar. I'm streaming almost every single day. And yeah, thank you for joining and see you later. Yeah, bye.